In the aftermath of former Vice President Mike Pence publicly refusing to endorse his former boss Donald Trump for a second term, President Biden's re-election campaign put together a long thread on Twitter of former Trump advisors and cabinet officials who have also refused to endorse him. And the thread asks a really good question. If the people who know Donald Trump best won't support him, why should you? But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bell before you go. I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, friends, we have a couple of clips to play in this video, but I thought what the Biden re-election campaign was doing here was really important and potentially very impactful. So we talked about this in a video, it may have even been a week ago, but former Vice President Mike Pence has publicly refused to endorse Donald Trump, the second highest ranking official in the Trump White House, in Trump 1.0, in Trump term 1. I said he can't support the guy because he doesn't think Donald Trump is principled or conservative enough. The thing is, that in and of itself is historic, right? We haven't heard anything like that in modern U.S. history. Your ex-right-hand man publicly refusing to back you up when you try to get the job a second time. But the thing is, Mike Pence isn't alone. There are numerous key Trump advisors and cabinet officials who have either said they won't support him or have refused to publicly support him, which is effectively the same thing. It's so rare and such an indictment of Donald Trump's temperament, his intelligence, his judgment, coming from the people, as President Biden's re-election campaign point out, who know him best. This is the thing. This is something, as I mentioned on Twitter, there's no good response to this. And we're going to go through some examples, and they have dutifully put together some great quotes and clips to drive the point home. When the people who know a person best oppose them, it makes it really hard to justify or rationalize why people who don't know Trump at all, aka the vast majority of Trump supporters, will do so anyway. It's kind of foolish. It's kind of stupid, quite frankly. So we're going to go through the list here. The people who know Trump best won't support him. Why should you? A thread. Trump's former Attorney General, Bill Barr. Trump is a consummate narcissist who constantly engages in reckless conduct. He will always put his own interests and gratifying his own ego ahead of everything else, including the country's interests. Let's click this video and see if that exact quote plays.
But the fact of the matter is, he is a consummate narcissist, and he constantly engages in reckless conduct that puts his political followers at risk and the conservative and Republican agenda at risk.
Would he put the country at risk if he was in the White House again?
He will always put his own interests and gratifying his own ego ahead of everything else, including the country's.
There you go. What an indictment. Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton.
And I will say, having been in the room with him in meeting those people, having listened in on his phone conversations, I don't think they are really friendly with Donald Trump. I think they think, Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un and others, they think he's a laughing fool. And they're fully prepared to take advantage of him. Trump.
There you go. Let's see. Trump's former transportation secretary, Elaine Chao, on why she resigned on January 7th. January 6th has deeply troubled me in a way I cannot set aside. I believe in the peaceful transfer of power. I believe in democracy. Elaine Chao, by the way, is Mitch McConnell's wife. Ooh, here's a good one. This is Trump's former defense secretary, Mark Esper.
Do you think Donald Trump was a threat to democracy?
I think that given the events of January 6th, given how he has undermined the election results, he incited people to come to D.C., stirred them up that morning, and failed to call them off. To me, that threatens our democracy.
His own former defense secretary. Let's see. Trump's former director of strategic communications, Alyssa Farah Griffin.
I think that makes him unfit. And what was interesting to me about that clip you played of all these officials who I have relationships with and think very highly of is we're all saying the same thing. We worked with him, we knew him, and we are telling you, America, this man is unfit to be president.
And let's be very blunt. There is not a single MAGA supporter that has a good response for this. None. In no other circumstances in life would we, when we're assessing the character of a person, would we look and say that, wow, it seems to be that a greater number of people who are close to this person are saying you shouldn't be close to this person. It's a bad idea. This person's unfit for a particular. I mean, imagine you're interviewing somebody for a job and they're former coworkers, their former bosses, the people who actually worked with them the closest in a professional context, their former employees, when you go to them, are saying, do not hire this person. This person is terrible. They have terrible judgment. They're narcissistic. They're terrible at their job. Would you hire that person? Probably not. And so the metaphor works kind of well here, especially when the job in question is the most important, powerful, and influential in the world. Donald Trump's references will not endorse him for the job. And these aren't strangers. These are people who know him better than you, who are saying, you can't hire this man, or you shouldn't hire this man. It would be really stupid. Let's see. Let's go to some other. Obviously, Nikki Haley, Donald Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, by the way, a veteran.
Kelly says about Trump, what can I add that has not already been said? Calling President Trump, quote, a person that has no idea what America stands for and has no idea what America is all about. For the first time ever, Kelly sets the record straight with on-the-record confirmation of a number of damning details about Donald Trump from background sources, including from a 2020 Atlantic story reported with unnamed sources by editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg, including the stunning detail that Trump turned to Kelly on Memorial Day at Arlington National Cemetery in 2017 and asked, I don't get it. What was in it for them?
That's his chief of staff, the person effectively running the White House on behalf of the president. Probably the person who works the closest with the president is their chief of staff. What about another former defense secretary, John Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis, who every Marine and veteran seem to venerate?
Secretary mostly held fire until this week when he saw how the president spoke about using the military against protesters. Quote, never did I dream that troops taking that same oath would be ordered under any circumstance to violate the constitutional rights of their fellow citizens, much less to provide a bizarre photo op for the elected commander-in-chief with military leadership standing alongside.
Doesn't sound like an endorsement to me. Keeps going. National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster, Trump's former chief. Oh, this is a big one. Mark Milley, Donald Trump's former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
The authors write Milley, quote, was certain that Trump had gone into a serious mental decline in the aftermath of the election, with Trump now all but manic, screaming at officials and constructing his own alternate reality about endless election conspiracies.
Now that is demonstrably true. Another former chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney.
I quit that night. I quit because I think he failed at being the president when we needed him to be that.
Again, folks, and then you have Mike Pence, obviously. Mike Pompeo, Anthony Scaramucci, who's a very short-term functioning director of communications. And folks, the list goes on and on. But the bottom line is this. No MAGA supporter, no Trump-supporting Republican will have a good and coherent response to this. So if you're watching, or if somebody who knows you is playing this in front of you, I'll just again say bluntly, if the people who work with Donald Trump professionally, who know him better than you, are saying in their professional judgment, having worked for him, it's not speculation, they worked for him, they know better than you, are saying with one voice, he's a terrible leader, he has terrible judgment, he's narcissistic, he's stupid, he's uncurious, he is unfit to be president. You can obviously still vote however you want. But let's be very clear about what this is. When you vote in contradiction to what people who know a particular person better say about that person, it's a foolish vote. It's dumb. It's just stupid. There's no two ways about it. I can't mince words about this. Again, I use the metaphor of a job applicant. You're hiring somebody for a job. You're looking at their resume. You look at their references, the people who, again, their former employees, their former coworkers, their former employers, people who know them the best, and they tell you in one voice, do not hire this person. You probably shouldn't hire this person. You almost certainly wouldn't hire this person. And if that's the case, then you should not vote for Donald Trump to be the next president of the United States. Or if you do, just recognize that you have no rational basis to do so. I think this is a great thread. Let me know what you think in the comments.